Epic music fades in. Deep drums, the sound of boots marching. Every sunrise brought new death. Every sunset marked the end of another army. From Poland's shattered streets to the frozen hell of Russia, from the burning skies of London to the bloody beaches of Normandy, this was not just a war. It was a daily struggle for survival. This was World War II, every day with army sizes. Music swells, fade into the sound of a ticking clock. Each tick represents a day. Voiceover. September 1st, 1939. Over 1.5 million German soldiers cross into Poland. Steel beasts roar, panzers crush resistance, and the Luftwaffe darkens the morning sky. Poland's army, 1 million brave men, fights with courage but without hope. Within 27 days, Warsaw burns. The world watches in silence. On September 17th, the Soviet Union invades from the east, sealing Poland's fate. By the end of that month, Germany and the USSR share a dead country. The world's balance changes. Germany's army stands nearly 3 million strong. The Red Army grows to 4.5 million. And the Allies, Britain and France, begin to prepare for a storm they still don't understand. Cinematic pause, thunder, the sound of marching soldiers. For months, Europe holds its breath. No major battles, only silence. The kind of silence before a hurricane. British and French soldiers dig trenches on the Maginot Line, while across the border, German factories work day and night, building tanks, planes, and bullets. By spring 1940, the German army reaches 4.2 million troops, a machine fueled by ideology, steel, and fear. Hitler gives the order, Fall Gelb. The invasion of the West begins, May 10, 1940. In less than 48 hours, 3 million German troops strike Belgium, the Netherlands, and France. Lightning-War, Blitzkrieg, tanks move faster than any army in history. The sky rains fire. The French army, 2.2 million strong, and the British Expeditionary Force of 300,000 are outmaneuvered, outflanked and overwhelmed. By June, Paris falls. France collapses. Only Britain stands. At this point, Germany controls most of Europe with over 5 million active soldiers. Britain prepares for invasion with 2 million men and a spirit unbreakable. Music slows, air raid sirens, bombs falling, Churchill's voice echoing faintly. The war reaches the skies. In July, the Luftwaffe sends 2,500 aircraft to crush the Royal Air Force. Britain answers with 600 Spitfires and Hurricanes, outnumbered, but fearless. Every day, pilots rise into the clouds knowing they may never return. By October, Germany loses 1,700 planes. Hitler cancels the invasion of Britain. The island lives on, scarred but undefeated. Soft piano under narration. The war had only begun, but the armies, their numbers were growing faster than the graves that filled the earth. On June 22, 1941, the silence of dawn was shattered by the roar of 3 million men. Hitler launches Operation Barbarossa, the largest invasion in human history. Germany's army now stands at 7.3 million soldiers, backed by 3,500 tanks and 2,700 aircraft. Their target, the Soviet Union, the red giant of the East. Across the border, the Soviet Union fields 5.5 million men, but scattered, unprepared, and stunned. The German war machine slices through them like lightning through clouds. Smolensk, Kiev, Minsk, all fall in weeks. Entire Soviet armies vanish. By December 1941, over 4 million Soviet soldiers are dead, captured, or missing. The German flag flutters just outside Moscow. But winter arrives, brutal, merciless, unstoppable. The Wehrmacht's engines freeze, rifles jam, soldiers die in the snow. And from the cold mist rises the Red Army, reinforced, enraged, resurrected. They came with rifles, and sometimes without, but they came. On December 5th, the Soviets strike back. The Germans retreat for the first time in the war. Sound, wind howling, distant shouting in Russian, snowstorm building. While the Eastern Front burns, the world erupts elsewhere. December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor. Japan, with 1.7 million troops, strikes the U.S. Pacific Fleet. In hours, the world changes forever. America enters the war. Within months, the U.S. Army swells from 1.5 million to 8 million men in training and deployment. Factories roar to life. Every day, 10,000 rifles, 100 tanks, 500 planes. The sleeping giant is awake. In Europe, the German army grows to 8.5 million, spread from the Arctic Circle to North Africa. Italy, Japan, Hungary, Romania. The Axis seems unstoppable, but numbers deceive. Behind every army is a story of courage, chaos, and collapse. If Moscow was survival, Stalingrad was revenge. Summer 1942. Germany launches Case Blue, an assault toward the oil fields of the Caucasus and the city of Stalingrad. Over 1 million German soldiers, 600,000 Soviets, clash in a city that becomes a graveyard. Every street is a battlefield. Every building a fortress, every basement a tomb. By November, the Soviets surround 300,000 Germans in the city. Hitler forbids surrender. Starvation begins. Men eat rats. Shells fall every minute. The German Sixth Army shrinks day by day. 280,000. 200,000. 100,000. 30,000. By February 1943, Stalingrad is silent. Only snow and ruins remain. The German army has lost an entire army group, and its myth of invincibility. Army sizes. End of 1942. Nation active soldiers notes. Germany 8.6 million fighting on multiple fronts. Soviet Union 11 million massive conscription after 1941. United States 5.4 million rapid mobilization. Japan 2.5 million expanding across Asia and Pacific. Britain and Commonwealth 4.5 million active in North Africa and Asia. The war had become global and unstoppable. Fade out with sound of waves, airplanes, and distant drums. After the disaster at Stalingrad, Hitler's empire bleeds but does not die. In July, the German army launches Operation Citadel at Kursk, the largest tank battle in history. 3 million men, 6,000 tanks, and 4,000 aircraft clash over the Russian plains. The sky turns black with smoke. The earth shakes with fire. For the first time, the Red Army stands its ground and breaks the spear of blitzkrieg. Germany loses 500,000 men and thousands of tanks. The Soviet army, now 12 million strong, begins its march westward. From the ashes of Stalingrad came the roar of revenge. In the south, British and American forces land in Sicily and Italy. By September, Italy surrenders, but Hitler sends his army to occupy it. Another front, another drain of blood. The Allies now field 15 million soldiers worldwide. Germany's army still numbers 9 million, but they are stretched across Europe, Africa, and the frozen East. Sound, distant artillery fading into waves crashing. The world moves toward one destiny: invasion. Across England, the largest army in human history gathers. Over 3 million men, 7,000 ships, and 11,000 planes prepare to cross the Channel. American, British, Canadian, and Free French, united for one purpose: to break the walls of Fortress Europe. Sound of waves, airplanes roaring, whispers of soldiers praying. June 6, 1944, D-Day. The beaches of Normandy explode under gunfire. 5,000 ships unleash men into hell. Within 24 hours, 156,000 Allied soldiers land on French soil. By August, Paris is free. Hitler's empire begins to crumble. In the east, the Red Army pushes with unstoppable force. From Leningrad to Warsaw, 15 million Soviet troops march toward Berlin. Germany is trapped between two storms. Its army, once proud and vast, now reduced to 6 million. Exhausted, starving, dying in retreat. Music slows, the sound of rain, boots on mud, cries in the distance. The hunter had become the hunted. In the Pacific, the U.S. strikes island after island. Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Saipan, Iwo Jima, each name a monument of blood. By late 1944, Japan's army stands at 3 million. But its empire is shrinking fast. American might is unstoppable. Over 12 million men, 90,000 planes, and 30,000 tanks stand ready. Meanwhile, in Europe, death closes in on Berlin. The Allies cross the Rhine. The Soviets crush East Prussia. Germany's last reserves, boys of 16, men of 60, fight against tanks with rifles and courage alone. By April 1945, Berlin burns. Hitler's empire collapses. The German army, once 10 million strong, is now a shadow of 2 million, surrendering piece by piece. Sound of bombs fading, replaced by church bells and silence. Army sizes. End of 1944. Nation active soldiers notes. Soviet Union 15 million massive advance toward Berlin. United States 12 million active across Europe and Pacific. Germany 6 million severely weakened, two-front war. Japan 3 million facing U.S. invasion threat. Britain and Commonwealth 5 million supporting global operations. The world is on fire, but the end is near. Soft piano begins to play, blending with wind and echoing prayers. For 6 long years, the world had known only war. But every army, no matter how large, must one day lay down its arms. Soft piano plays, a whisper of wind, the faint echo of marching boots fading away. 6 years of darkness, 60 million dead. And now, in the final months of 1945, The world stands at the edge of both victory and annihilation. Chapter 11. The Fall of Berlin. It is April 1945. The Red Army stands at the gates of Berlin, 2.5 million Soviet soldiers, 10,000 tanks and 40,000 artillery guns. Every street of Berlin becomes a battlefield, every building a fortress. The once mighty Wehrmacht, now barely 1 million men, defends its dying capital with teenagers, old men, and broken hearts. Inside his bunker beneath the ruins, Adolf Hitler still dreams of victory. But the sounds above tell another story. The story of a city dying hour by hour. In the final days, maps meant nothing. Only survival mattered. On April 30th, Hitler takes his own life. A week later, Germany surrenders. The war in Europe is over. The guns fall silent after 2,194 days of fire. Music rises, mixed with the sound of church bells and quiet rain. Chapter 12. The Last Empire, Japan. But in the east, the war still burns. Japan refuses to surrender. Its army, 3 million men, defends every island with suicidal resolve. The U.S. plans Operation Downfall, an invasion that could cost millions of lives. But then, a new weapon is born. A weapon that will change war. Forever. August 6, 1945, Hiroshima. A single bomb, a blinding light, and 80,000 souls vanish in seconds. 3 days later, Nagasaki, another city disappears. The world enters a new age, the atomic age. On August 15th, Japan surrenders. The emperor's voice, soft, broken, divine, echoes across the radio. The war situation has developed not necessarily to Japan's advantage. The last empire falls. The last soldier lays down his rifle. World War II is over. Music fades to silence. A heartbeat remains. Year 1945, active soldiers' fate. Soviet Union, 12 million victorious but millions dead. United States, 12 million global superpower rises. Germany, 0 defeated, occupied. Japan, 0 surrenders after atomic bombs. Britain and Commonwealth, 5 million exhausted but free. Over 100 million men had served. Over 60 million people were dead. Cities turned to ash, empires shattered, and the map of the world redrawn from the ruins of Berlin to the deserts of North Africa. From the jungles of Burma to the ashes of Hiroshima, the world begins to rebuild. New nations rise. Old enemies become uneasy allies. And two powers, the United States and the Soviet Union, now face each other in a cold new war. The armies that once fought together now stand apart, each holding weapons capable of ending the world. The war ended, but peace never truly began. Soft orchestral music swells, hopeful yet haunting. The numbers tell one story, but the faces tell another. Every day of World War II, from the first shot in Poland to the last bomb in Japan, was written in the blood and breath of ordinary people. Farmers turned into soldiers. Students turned into pilots. Mothers turned into heroes. They fought, they suffered, and they dreamed of a tomorrow that we now live in. Voice deep, slow, cinematic. World War II, every day, was not just about armies and battles. It was about humanity itself, how far we can fall, and how hard we can fight to rise again. If you are watching this, remember, every freedom you have was paid for in every day and by someone who never saw tomorrow. Fade to black, orchestral score slowly fades out. The final army count, end of war. Country total mobilized, total dead, wounded. Soviet Union, 34 million, 27 million. Germany, 18 million, 7 million. United States, 16 million, 420,000. Japan, 7 million, 3 million. Britain and Commonwealth, 10 million, 900,000.